is that if I'm watching some pornography, that's just some sex. There's no great scripts. We're not going to see some incredible CGI. You know, there's no amazing monologues. It's just some sex.
Yeah.
And that's two people having sex. And if one of them palpably isn't enjoying it, then that's not great sex. We've screwed up sex at that point.
Yeah.
I don't see women having pleasure. I sit there looking for women. I've got a little list of times when I've seen women having a good time. It's a very small list. They're all saved on a special folder.
Yeah.
What you see instead, because you want to see an emotional response from a woman, is pain instead.
Yeah.
You know, slapping. I don't know when slapping became a huge part of sex.
Yeah.
But if I was a 13-year-old now, I would absolutely presume that in some way the sexual mechanics of either lubrication or erection involved at some point having to slap someone repeatedly on the arse.
Yeah.
No, you know, I come from an older age. Before we invented bum slapping, that just wasn't a thing. We all managed to have sex without repeatedly slapping each other. This is a fashion for sex, a fashion in pornography.
Yeah.
So I love people like Cindy Gallop, who does Make Love Not Porn, where you're just seeing consensual couples having sex. It's pornography.
Yeah.
But it's pornography that's about pleasure and about two people having sex rather than a man coming and having sex on top of a woman.
Right.
Which is what we see time and time again. I don't see any women's ideas in that. You know, she's not going, hang on, I've got a good idea. Like, kind of, we could do it like this.
Yeah.
She's just lying there having sex on top of her. And that's not what sex is.
Yeah.
I'm 41 years old. I've had sex 4 or 5 times now. And I can tell you it's generally not about that.
4 or 5, huh?
I know.
Wow.
I can tell you about it later.
Big news.
Yeah, I'm a big pumper.
Okay, Jenny wants to know, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing the feminist movement in 2016? For people who really want to do something, book clubbers, beyond reading, what are some of the concrete things you think they can do, direct action that can be taken to fight for change?
I think the biggest challenge is, again, it comes back down to tone.
Yeah.
Feminism has become such a big hot potato. You know, it's like it's a hot newsworthy subject now in America, in the UK, and in parts of Europe in a way that it wasn't 10 years ago. You could not get arrested if you wanted to talk about feminism. I went and pitched an idea of writing a column about funny feminism to a leading women's magazine. They went, we couldn't write about feminism in a women's magazine, which is why I went away and wrote How to Be a Woman. Now they are commissioning stuff every week. It's a huge clickbait thing. People want to read about feminism, but many people have been put off feminism in the last couple of years because the tone gets so heated. You know, we've had feminism wars.
Yeah.
First of all, you know, people will argue and fight all the time. That's absolutely fine. We can't go, oh, 2 women have disagreed with each other. It's a cat fight. That proves women shouldn't be able to speak in public. Feminism is dead. It's like, allow women the weakness to be able to argue and fight like men would.
Yeah.
You know, true equality is not being perfect immediately and being some superhero who has an amazing job and incredible hair and a pelvic floor and a tiny little stomach and 2 children who are perfectly well turned out. You know, that's exhausting. True equality is being as dim, fat, deluded, nuts, smelly, scruffy, hopeful, joyful and idiotic as men.
Yeah.
You know, it's not being perfect, it's just being treated as a human being. So you know, we need to allow that women will have arguments, but the key thing we need to do is just calm everything down a little bit. You know, it's so important when these big debates that are about the future of half the population of womankind start breaking out on social media, to just be calm.
Yeah.
You know, to just bring a bit of sort of a sense of humour to it, to listen to it. You don't need to make your mind up straight away. You don't need to have a hot take. And very often, you know, I think the problem is that the medium is often the message. If you're doing this stuff on Twitter, which is where the worst stuff happens, Twitter works in such a way that every time someone writes something that you're following, you can't not see it. It's short and it goes like a bullet into your brain.
Yeah.
And it provokes a flight or flight response. And if someone's written something you disagree with, you flood with adrenaline, you're panicky, you're angry, and you respond in fear and anger.
Yeah.
And suddenly an argument's happening with people who should be on the same side.
Yeah.
I've seen arguments break out between feminists who have the same life experiences, who want the same things to happen in society, who are disagreeing on the most tiny thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I would say Twitter is making them do that. Social media is making them do that. If they could just sit down in the pub, have a couple of Bacardis and put some Guns N' Roses on the jukebox, this would all be sorted in 5 minutes flat. So, I mean, you know, but that's another reason why we need to get more women in tech, because I think if women were inventing social media platforms, they would be completely different to Twitter. It would be much easier to break out and have relaxed conversations and talk about things at length.
Yeah.
And, you know, and be able to interject some humour into it and let people know what emotions you're having, rather than these shouty little statements.
Yeah.
It's everyone waving a placard at the same time.
Yeah.
That's not a conversation.
Yeah.
So we've seen all the placards, we know what all the issues are now.
Yeah.
Now we need to move it somewhere where we have have these conversations. And in terms of, so that's the bad stuff. The good news is that there are places where you can have these conversations. Like one of the most hopeful things that's happened in this country in the last couple of years is the formation of the Women's Equality Party, because they have said, okay, let's form a party that is just about women's issues, and we're going to open source policy. So they don't have an idea for what this party should be, other than let's find out what women want. And they are now just consulting all up and down the country. And you can go now and be a member of the Women's Equality Party, attend these meetings, and talk about the problems in your life and the things that you think would solve it. And I don't see any other political party doing that and going, women, come and tell us, let's do this. A party is being built from the ground up now that is inclusive of everybody, that has stated it wants every kind of woman involved in that, whatever your class, whatever your age, whatever your ability, whatever your ethnicity, whatever your religion or your sexuality. Go there, talk about being a woman, and come up with some ideas. I love a bit of direct action.
No, direct action is super cool.
If you do think that one of the things you want to do on earth is make the world a better place, which is what being a feminist is, what being a decent person is, then you have to make sure that you are aware of what you are subconsciously thinking about anybody who speaks up. Because I think we have this subconscious belief that someone can only speak up if they are perfect and have the answers to everything. We are basically waiting for a feminist Jesus to come along who is going to write the feminist Bible that has everything in it, or has written the feminist TV show that has everything and everyone in it, or makes the film that tells the story of everyone. And that is, of course, impossible. Because again, you just say to yourself, are the men doing this? Are we expecting a man to come along and write a book that would provide the answers and speak for 3.3 billion men? And what we have to understand is that feminism, there's never going to be a feminist Jesus. No one's ever going to come along with all the answers. If we're not going to get behind someone until that comes along, then we will never do anything. We have to understand that feminism is instead a patchwork quilt. And what we all do is we all sew the little squares that we think we can sew with our abilities and our stories and our solutions, and then we join them all together. So, I will speak about my experiences and the things that I've observed and things that I know, and these are my squares here, and then you will talk about your things and your powers and your skills, and we sew that next to there. And then you get someone who's like from the transgender movement talking about their experiences, and they sew their thing, and you make sure it's sewn to yours. You make sure you're all working together. You make sure that everybody's squares are equal. But you make sure that we're working on this together. Feminism is a collaborative effort. It's not waiting for one feminist Jesus to come along.
You talk about this in your book, how in Moran Manifesto specifically, how Germaine Greer was one of your big inspirations, one of the first pieces of text that you read, and whatever else, and that while you disagree with some of the comments that she made later on, you still appreciate the contributions that she's made, even though she can't speak for you on every single specific topic.
Absolutely. I mean, I absolutely fundamentally disagree with Germaine Greer's viewpoint on trans issues and her belief of what a woman is. I come from the point of view that you are what you say you are. Whether you're saying you're a man or a woman or a gay space alien, because I was brought up on David Bowie. I just believe what people tell me they feel they are. But to trash everything that Germaine Greer did, first of all, misunderstands what you're standing on as a woman. To have the power to be able to, and the public platform and the vocabulary to speak out against Germaine Greer and call her a bad feminist, is to misunderstand that she has given you half those words and that platform and that ability to do that. We are all standing on the shoulders of our aunts. And particularly, it happens in sort of every sort of, political movement and movement for social change, but it's particularly noticeable these days because so much of our talk about these things happens on social media, that we don't bring our elders with us. We're not taking into account what other previous generations did, because they're not on social media. They're not part of the conversation. We like to think, well, we've moved on from that. We just, these people are outdated, we're doing things a different way now. And you need to have your tribal elders. You need to have the old people sitting around, because we're going to have to fight a lot of battles in order to change things. And these people have fought these battles before. They know the right language to use. They know how you can change legislation. They know the kind of alliances that you need to make. They've gone through these different tactics before. You need people who've been in wars. And there's some of the stuff they will say will be wholly objectionable. But to lose this massive well of wisdom and resource means that we are never going to progress past a certain point. We make ourselves weak. Have the strength to be able to say, my heroes are flawed. In the same way that I am flawed. In the same way that all of us are flawed. Again, if we're waiting for a perfect feminist Jesus to come along, who's never made a single mistake,
Yeah.
we will have no one. We will continue to be disadvantaged. While the men who are like, I'm not perfect at all. I'm Jeremy Clarkson. I'm simply going to carry on making racist comments and driving my car where I want, and because I've said I don't want to make the world a better place, I'm just allowed to get away with it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a person who says, I'm trying to be a good person, and you make one mistake, then that's seen as unforgivable. You know, some days I wish I was Jeremy Clarkson. I would just get up, say 10 absolutely, untenable, horrendous things before breakfast, and because he's essentially saying, Bagsy, no returns.
Yeah.
Nothing happens.